Yo, call me Team Rose the way it definitely rose. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Games Kids. Today, and only today, we are here to talk about what the fuck is going on with Sonic Heroes. There's been, I feel like, a lot of conversation of a potential remaster, remake, or something going on with the game, and I'm here to give you all the info on why I'd like one and all this stuff. And and please, if you've been enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe to your boy and let me know what other stuff you'd like to see. Like, what am I missing that I need to do here? Please let me know what you like, what you dislike, what you want more of. I love you. So, Sonic Heroes, a game beloved by fans. In fact, one of the best-selling Sonic games of all time. I still think it is up there as the best-selling 3D game in the series. I think Sonic Frontiers might have recently passed it, but Sonic Heroes is a big game. In fact, whenever I talk to casual people who don't give a shit about Sonic, and nowadays, whenever I've talked to them about it, they all tell me the same thing. They grew up with Sonic Heroes. They start going Sonic Heroes, Sonic. Like, they start singing the theme song and start talking about that game, and it's because that game was the first major 3D Sonic game to be on multiple platforms. You think especially how big the PS2 was back in the day, the GameCube was. Obviously, GameCube not crazy big, but you know what I mean. It was a big deal that it was a multi-platform Sonic game, and that, it was during the time of Sonic's big hype. We had Sonic X going on TV. We had a lot of stuff with Sonic on GBA going on at the time. And you get this game where it's not just Sonic, it is Sonic's entire cast effectively. You are getting the entire bargain bin. You're getting Team Sonic with Sonic, Knuckles, Tails. You get Team Rose with Amy, Cream, Big the Cat. You get Team Chaotix. You get Team Dark. And then just you get almost all the major characters from the series into one game. So it was a special game for a lot of people. Now, how is it aged? Not necessarily the best. It's got a lot of fun spear, got a lot of fun levels, but it's definitely very janky. It's very janky. There's a lot of, unfair deaths. There's a lot of shitty levels in there. But, inherently, the idea of the game, the story, everything is awesome. I think it is to this day, one of the best ways to showcase the entire gang in a lot of ways. So I'm still very thankful it exists, and it's a game that's very special to a lot of people. Now, there's a few things we need to establish here. One, right, the first thing is the conversation started during the last Sonic Central when there was like a Tails Tube segment that had, the screen tearing, and we saw footage of Sonic Heroes that was sort of distorted into the screen. Now, a lot of people look into Tails Tube a lot, right? They try to look into, what files Tails has on the computer or what footage is being shown, but Tails Tube has been sort of this thing people have looked into a lot, and I don't think it's amounted to much. The most thing we got out of Tails Tube was sort of like how there was this pink hair character girl that was in the background of one of them, and we never got to see them, but they were definitely hinting. Ian Flynn was at least hinting that, hey, you haven't seen her yet. So there's been some hint type beats in Tails Tube, but yeah, that was the biggest one that started the conversation, right? That there was just some footage of Sonic Heroes in there, right? Second of all, yesterday Sega drops this video called the Sonic Friends Forever Initiative or whatever. It's some marketing campaign they're doing where it's just gonna be typical stuff. There's gonna be some events during the year. They're gonna showcase cool stuff, yada yada yada. It's nothing major. It's a typical marketing event just to do some cool showcases, do some cool comics and stuff. But in that, they showed again snippets of footage from Sonic Heroes. So that's 2 for 2 on events that just showed random snippets from Sonic Heroes. Again, I want to clarify, this doesn't necessarily mean something, but it's very really specific to pick really old footage of a game, to showcase in your showcase. Why not use the newer games where the 3D models look better and more modern instead of just going and showing heroes again, right? So that's 2 for 2 on that one. Then the next segment is actually, Sega's recent financials, right? Where they said that, the Sonic IP is doing super well and they want to invest in actually doing more remasters, remakes, reboots into the series. Now, we've talked about a bunch of stuff when it comes to Sonic that, obviously the Sonic Adventure games deserve to be remastered. People would love to see the return of stuff like Sonic Riders, and there's obviously a bunch of Sonic games, even the Sonic Advance games. People want a lot of new versions of them. There's a lot they can do when it comes to Sonic, but it's very clear Sega is interested in going back into Sonic's catalog because we haven't really gotten that too much when it comes to Sonic, and I think Sonic of all franchises needs that more than anything because they are games that are so beloved, like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and Heroes and Storybooks games and all of these things, where they're games that are definitely super beloved, but they're flawed. You know, they don't age the best. If you didn't grow up with them, I feel like you don't really end up liking those games when you play them the first time too much. But for those who love them and grew up with them, even we can acknowledge, you know, as much as we like them, there's definitely some flaws within them. So to give those games, you know, a fresh coat of paint and, you know, some new looks, some new modern level design elements, you know, or maybe, you know, infinite live stuff, or, you know, level fixes or anything, you know, just newer cutscenes would be fire. And the reason why Sonic Heroes, I feel like, stands out a lot in the conversation here, again, is just because there's been this footage being shown for it. And I also think it's the best way to sort of display Sonic's, you know, cast, right? I think Sega has been emphasizing Sonic's friends for a hot minute now. You know, there's this new TikTok thing they're doing called Sonic and Friends. I'm sure you've all seen it. It's for the little Timmies out there. But again, they're also running this Friends Forever campaign. You've even got Sonic Frontiers that's having DLC that's emphasizing, you know, all the buddies. And I feel like the IDW comics are showcasing the gang. So what better way to showcase, you know, all of Sonic's friends, you know, than Sonic Heroes Remastered? Now, I do think it's weird, right? As much as I want a Sonic Heroes Remastered or a remake or whatever, I would like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 to come with that as well. Now, granted, I think Sonic Heroes would be a bigger deal because the difference is at least Adventure 1 and 2 have been HD remastered before. You know, they did it during the PS3 era. They're still playable on modern consoles and even on PC, whereas Sonic Heroes has no port, no nothing, right? And the reason for that is because of the engine. It's using, the game was actually built using an engine that was licensed back in the day. I think it's called the Criterion engine or something. And that engine now belongs actually to EA, and EA apparently doesn't have much interest in licensing or giving out that engine. Now, granted, that engine has actually been used for some remasters of stuff nowadays. I think someone told me it was used for the GTA trilogy remaster, which, you know, probably isn't the best example of it because of how those games turned out. But it's not an impossibility that they would, you know, maybe do a deal with EA to be like, hey, like, we just want to be able to relicense this so we can launch this game. Let's work together. You get some money off of this. But I do feel like the biggest, most random, most like likely necessary thing would be to remake the game. I think at this point, you know, those animations and stuff, like, they look rough. You know, some of the animations look rough. Some of the level design, you know, is kind of rough, especially like the pinball level. Don't even fucking get me started on that pinball level. But I just feel like, you know, a new coat of paint for that game would be fire. It doesn't even have to be like a remake, like, you know, FF7 Rebirth style, or even, you know, something crazy. Just something where, like, hey, graphics completely overhauled. You know, it's easier to navigate through these levels. You know, some of the stuff is easier to get into. Maybe add online and for the multiplayer mode, stuff like that would be really fire, and I think would do a lot for the game. And I honestly, I hope it happens, man, because like I said, Sonic Heroes is a game that I've really tried to love a lot as an adult, but I just can't do it, you know, not because I don't want to. Like I said, I love the aesthetic, I love the style of all of it, but I just have so much trouble in some of the later levels. And I know part of it is a skill issue, but part of it is definitely how the game ages. But I just feel like, hey man, just give us a new version of that game, whether it's a port, whether it's a remake or whatever. I just feel like Heroes' time to shine is definitely getting closer and closer, and I feel like we are definitely nearing something, especially, you know, after we have Sonic Superstars and Sonic Frontiers, you know, DLC out, as well as Sonic Superstars fully out. I feel like next year or two is going to be heavy on Sonic remasters and spin-offs until we get, you know, our next big new mainline 3D Sonic. Like, I'm guessing next year we're probably gonna get one remaster and one spin-off. Hopefully we get something like a Riders, and then, you know, the year after, I feel like that's when they announce Sonic Frontiers 2 or whatever. Then it can come out the year after that, and then we'll figure out what we do next with the series, you know. But I feel like it's time for Sonic Heroes, and I feel like they've been talking about it, they've been doing little hints at it, and of course it's something that's very special to the fans, one of the best selling games in the series. But guys, let me know what you think. What would you like to see from a Sonic Heroes remaster? Do you even want one? Would you rather Sonic Adventure remix? Let me know what's popping, let me know what's up, and of course I'll see you all next time. Peace out.